Hey guys, so you guys can see I got my new camera, my new phone, which has a little bit better of a camera. Anyways, I'm gonna be talking about college football, primarily the Oregon State game, Oregon State versus Washington State. I have to say, I think that, Oregon State got a lot stronger later on, had a lot of problems, weaknesses, mistakes made early on, and I think they got better over time. And Washington State was very strong from the start and started slowing down towards the end. So it was a tough game, close game. Definitely Washington State, props to them. They definitely deserve the win. I think, however, if the game went into overtime, which it very, very closely almost did, the onside kick actually almost worked. Like, the ball was just inches away from the Oregon State player to actually recover it. It was very close. Like, that's how close that game was. That was just a fantastic game. And I think the game played out exactly how Washington State and Oregon State wanted it. I mean, both teams played their game. Oregon State had a lot more on the ground running the ball, which I think was perfectly designed. DJ did not do as great as what other people were thinking. However, I thought that with this being the first real test for Oregon State, I thought they were going to be a bit rocky at the start. So with the interceptions and all that, and fumbling and all, well, any kind of turnover potentially could have happened, and there were turnovers. And I think that the defense was the shock for me. Oregon State's defense. I thought their defense was going to be much better. That was the only surprise. Washington State, they're a great high-flying, throwing offense. Their quarterback is amazing. He can throw right on a dime. He showed that, and they did great. They gassed out, which I figured they might potentially be doing. They gassed out towards the end. But, yeah, it was... I think Oregon State is built for a longer-term game. Washington State, just with their play style and the way that they've been playing against other teams, I think it's their identity is found as well, which is you just go out kicking and screaming, making passes and whatnot, and just getting that done. And yeah, that's exactly what they did. They both played by their playbook, and Washington State ended up being the one to win. And it was close to being either. It could have gone either way. So with the rankings out, Washington State is 16, which, looking at the teams ahead, University of North Carolina, which is 4-0. Same with Oklahoma, LSU. I don't know. I still feel Washington State is being disrespected. I think that Washington State should have been ranked higher. They're a sleeper team. I don't think it really matters as a Washington State fan or whatnot. That's take it as a chip on their shoulder. But yeah, I think it's going to play out as the weeks go by, and they're going to get the true rankings that the true rank that they should be getting. As far as for Oregon State, dropped down to 19. Didn't drop down very much. They were 14. They dropped down to 19. I think it's fair. I think it's 100% fair. Oregon State lost, but they lost very closely, and it was such a close game. maybe they shouldn't have even dropped down that much. I would have argued that Washington State should have been 14. Maybe Oregon State, if they were going to be up ranked higher, which I could see be right below Duke. So it would have been 18, which would have been one spot higher. But I think that the rankings are pretty just for Oregon State. I think Washington State should be ranked 1 or 2 spots higher for sure. Yes, they're a really good team. Their offense is doing great. It's just a question on their defense, because their defense started out great and then it just. Their defense kind of just, I don't know if they got worn out or what, but their defense really was not really showing us well later on. But yeah, it was fun game to watch. As far as for rankings of other teams, I think most of it, for the most part, is pretty good. I do think Oregon should be ranked higher. Oregon is pretty darn good. I think they should be ranked higher than USC, higher than Washington. Oregon is a force to be reckoned with, and I don't think that that should be taken lightly. I also think that Alabama should not be ranked as highly as they are. I am sorry, ranked 12, and you don't even know really what's going on with your quarterback. If that's favoritism, if I've ever seen one, that's what it is. I mean, they got favoritism on the rankings every year. I'm saying this both as an Oregon State fan. I like Oregon State, but with my dad being from University of Alabama, I'm an Alabama fan too, and I'm even as an Alabama fan, I would say no, they shouldn't be. They should probably be ranked number 14 or even 15. They are not playing good. They are not good at. They're going to lose another game. I'm pretty certain of it. They're going to be losing some more games. This is not going to be a great year for Alabama. They barely squeaked by on really their last couple games. Nothing too great. Like Alabama, they kind of woke up and kind of became the old Alabama, so to say, towards the end of the Ole Miss game. But still, it was not by all means the dominant Alabama, like top tier of the teams that are ranked. It was not one of those games. I do think that next week there can be some upsets. Duke's playing Notre Dame. I think Duke could win against Notre Dame, potentially. That's going to be the deciding factor of, like, is Notre Dame for real or not, and is Duke for real or not. I think Duke is very strong. I think they're highly, highly underrated. I think they could win that game. Also, the Oregon State Utah game. Think that Oregon State could potentially beat Utah. It depends. It's a game in Corvallis. I'll be going to that game. That game is tomorrow, I believe. What's today's date? Yeah, 26th. Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. It's not tomorrow. It's Friday, but I'll be at that game, and it should be a good game. I'm saying Oregon State potentially can. It depends on, are they going to play from the start really good? I don't know if they can. I'm really hoping that Oregon State can, but their defense needs to be existent, because their defense hasn't existed. And like the previous game, it didn't exist until like later on in the game. They have to be doing well, like how they have been against the weaker teams. They need to start out pretty strong. That's really how it is. You can't just progressively get better and better throughout the game and really win with the kind of recruits and whatnot that we have. It's just not. That's not technically going to it could happen. I don't think that it's a really strong way for Oregon State to go. Do you think Florida is underrated? Florida lost that first game, that big game, but their quarterback was just still learning how to work with the team. He came from another college, still learning the playbook and everything. And I have respect and I understand what the QB was going through. I go through that similar thing with work. You don't know till you try it, and first you might fail. And I've gone through that through all my learning disabilities and speech impediments and whatnot. I go through trials and I learn what can I do, what can't I do, and what can I improve on. And it's just exactly the same way he's going. I also think Kansas and Missouri are fantastic. Missouri for sure is another sleeper. I think the two sleepers, I think, is Washington State and Missouri. I would say Oregon State too, but there's some things that I've seen that is a little worrisome. It's mainly on the QB side of DJ Uiagalelei, and I just don't know what to expect. Still, it's just there's too many question marks that haven't really been answered yet. So just as time goes on, that's the other thing is Oregon State, with losing to Washington State, they got to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. They got to be, because now you're playing for Pac-12 championship, and you're also playing for rankings. So Oregon State has to be doing well enough to be ranked high to get into a good bowl game. So that's kind of where it sits now. I think where Oregon State's sitting is kind of, it's in no man's land. Could do really well for the season still, but could be also not that great. Could have a 3-loss, 4-loss season, and a 3-loss, 4-loss season is big. Could be even a 2-loss season. So potentials are there. It's just that loss really stung for Oregon State. That's really what it is. Washington State, they got to be feeling happy. I would have expected Oregon State to win going into the game, which is what I did, and they didn't beat Washington State. They barely lost to them. So it's a little concerning because they're both at about the same level. And there's still games like Oregon. There's still games like Utah against the big teams that really, I don't know how Washington State will play against them. I don't know how Oregon State will play against them until the games actually happen. So who knows what'll happen. We'll see what happens. And yeah, anyways, hope you guys liked this video. That's my thoughts on college football right now. And yeah, it was fun and exciting. I also watched the Ohio State Notre Dame game, so fun and exciting. Or I think I would say on the Ohio State Notre Dame, Ohio State got very lucky at the end. I don't know. I think they're going to end up going through the season kind of like that, but it's really until they play big team Michigan, the Ohio State-Michigan game, that's going to be what determines those two teams' destinies too. So anyways, hope you guys liked this video, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.